Early in the morning, Harper and John respond to what looks like a convenience store robbery. But once they get inside, they discover it's just a college student shooting a film. Back at the precinct, right before roll call, John gets a call saying his check for Henry's college tuition bounced. He's sure it must be a mistake. Meanwhile, the sergeant announces that the team is being evaluated for compliance, and Jackson will be in charge of recording everything. The sergeant also mentions he'll be out for the day with Angela. Before leaving, Angela quietly warns John that his credit score has dropped below 700, which doesn't reflect well on him as a cop. Elsewhere, Tim tells Lucy that Angela and the sergeant are headed to prison. The man responsible for killing the sergeant's former partner is up for parole, and Angela is going along because she was the first officer on the scene back then. After checking his credit report, John realizes his identity has been stolen. Harper advises him to visit the identity theft department for help. A specialist explains that fixing the problem could take years, and John likely won't recover the stolen money from his account. While looking over the charges, John notices a rare, distinctive watch that was purchased on one of his cards, something that makes tracking the thief much easier. He and Harper follow the lead to a house where they find the suspect. Harper and John call Jackson for backup, asking him to come over and log all of the items the thief bought, using John's identity. Before heading out, Jackson stumbles across an old case file that had slipped through the system. Feeling responsible, he decides he has to follow up on it. Meanwhile, the sergeant and Angela are still on the road to the prison. Angela admits she's nervous and opens up about how the day the sergeant's partner was killed changed her forever. It was her very first day on the job, and she was the one who held him as he took his last breath. John discovers that the man who stole his identity only has a limited amount of merchandise, but a large sum of money is still unaccounted for. Most of it is likely hidden in an offshore account, and the only way to trace it is by finding a backup drive, since the criminal's computer is heavily encrypted. Meanwhile, Tim and Lucy are on a ride along with Tim's girlfriend and her strict, intimidating father. Tim isn't exactly winning him over. After they arrest the suspect and secure his bag, the father pulls Tim aside and warns him not to date his daughter. He insists that being a cop means the job will always come first, and his daughter will always come second. Back with John, the suspect is released and returns home, only to find Harper, John, and the processing team waiting there. Before being sent away, he asks to use the bathroom. John, however, has a camera set up inside and catches him pulling a hard drive from a toilet paper roll. With that evidence, it looks like John has a real shot at recovering his stolen money. On the drive to the prison, the sergeant in Angela's car breaks down. While trying to change the tire, the sergeant grows frustrated, and the conversation shifts back to his late partner. Angela then admits something she's kept secret for years. His partner had been drinking the night he died. The sergeant is stunned since he thought his friend had been sober for 4 months. Elsewhere, Jackson follows up on his cold case and speaks with a victim whose garage had been vandalized with graffiti. But the man has no interest in pursuing it further and tells Jackson to just drop it. Meanwhile, Tim learns that his girlfriend may have Huntington's disease, which explains why her father has been so protective of her. Back with John, he begins to panic over the idea that he might never recover his stolen money and could be forced to start over from scratch. Harper steps in to calm him down. At the same time, Tim's girlfriend finds out that he knows about the possibility of her illness. She is furious, realizing her father is the one who told him. Jackson learns that the man responsible for vandalizing a neighbor's house was found dead the very next day. Jackson and his partner bring the neighbor in for questioning. They expect it will take some time to break him down, but to their surprise, he confesses almost instantly, admitting he killed the man after confronting him. Meanwhile, Harper and John uncover that their suspect is tied to a larger crime organization, and now he's in serious danger. At the same time, Angela and the sergeant arrive at the prison, where they come face to face with the man who killed the sergeant's partner. In front of his wife and child, the inmate delivers a heartfelt apology, insisting he's not the same man he was back then. Back on the case, Harper and John track a SUV linked to the crime group that took their suspect. They find it abandoned at a train station, but inside the vehicle lies a bloodied watch belonging to their suspect. The two split up and search on foot. Harper quickly takes down 2 men, while John pushes forward in pursuit, still determined to find his suspect alive. At the parole hearing, Angela gives her statement about the prisoner's possible release. Then, the sergeant takes the stand. He speaks about the anger he's carried for years and how deeply he loved his partner, but also acknowledges that his partner had his flaws. He says he doesn't want to judge him and instead hopes the prisoner can prove himself in this next chapter of life, especially by showing his son what it means to be a responsible man. Later, John visits the suspect whose life he saved. The man is surprised that John still came to check on him. He opens up about a hidden comic book collection and agrees to sign an affidavit, making sure John can recover his money faster so his son's college fund won't suffer. Back at the precinct, the sergeant asks Jackson how he did on his compliance checklist for the day. Jackson admits he didn't complete it because he ended up solving a homicide instead. The sergeant still wants the list, but praises Jackson for his good work. Meanwhile, Tim reassures Rachel that he's not going anywhere. What did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below.